To introduce myself, it will suffice to say that I do not believe in dry philosophy and plain theories which lead one nowhere. I consider these as mere intellectual exercises. Let us be practical. Okay, let me proceed. A single cell, tiny little single cell, that's what I was. The origin of everything that is inside me started with a single cell in my mother's womb. That single cell had all the potentialities in itself to grow into all that is in me today. Like a small seed of a great banyan tree grew from the small, tiny little seed, the smallest seed had the hidden potentialities to grow into what it is today, the great banyan tree. Likewise, the single cell that grew into a small baby and came out of the shell and dropped into this world. All the physical aspects grew into me slowly. Senses developed with experience of the objects of the world. Perceptions increased. It took some time for the mental development. As I grew bigger and bigger, intellectual activity started. As I was growing, mental activities were developed by studying and disciplines to earn the capacity to survive in this world. Yes, one has to survive. Importance was given to equip myself with a survival kit. Schools, colleges, certificates, etc. Meantime, five senses demanded their attention. Good food, good music, and beautiful things to look at. My physical body exerted to satisfy the requirements of the five senses. I was running here and there, far off places, just to eat in a good restaurant, to see beautiful things in the world, to hear pleasant concerts for my ears. I was busy to please my mind, to keep it happy, through the outlets of the five senses, as explained above. But the mind is never always happy, never contented. Demands were always growing. Then I exerted more and more to satisfy the mental desires. Simultaneously started emotional and intellectual pursuits, like painting, poetry, music, reading, research in various fields. These pursuits gave me little longer satisfaction than the satisfactions derived from the five senses. Physical pleasures do not last longer, and constant repetition was required, hence diverted into the intellectual fields. Mind was getting tired by the onslaughts of the experience of the physical fatigue, mental pressures, and the resultant emotional health problems everyone experiences. Trying to please people, impress people, ego, to stand out as you are somebody in the world, all that still left vacuum in the heart. Now children, wives, keeping them happy, meeting the requirements, all this is required as part of the worldly functions. I have to play my role and played it to the extent of my ability. Everyone has to act his or her role in the drama of life, and the only difference is that we do it here without any rehearsal. One has to do all this with love, affection, and without expecting anything in return, as naturally it all involves another individual. Unless they are contented with what you do for them, they'll never be happy. Your happiness is then related to their level of contentment, understanding, over which we have no control. Hence there is a vacuum in the heart, in spite of the best exertions to fulfill the needs of everyone around you. Physical pleasures, mental pursuits, intellectual achievements, caring for others is all that we do. That's what the world is about, with full energy. Nothing wrong. It's only natural. However, you need to restore the power of your mind and fill up the vacuum of your heart. Remove the fatigue, pressures. That's what it should ease. Here starts the search for the practical solution. The root of all activities is my mind and your mind. Without knowing your own self, I started involving into the matters of the world seriously. Like the boy getting into the deep water without knowing how to swim. I do not know how many parts my own body has, how the system works thoroughly. I do not know the mystery of my own mind with which I am functioning in day-to-day life. Without knowing anything about myself in detail, in depth, I am involved deeply in the activities of the world. To fill up the vacuum in me, it is necessary and it is essential for my happiness. I am now longing to locate the single cell that was in me. Where is the single cell that was in me? The original me gone. That single cell is still in me. That is a substratum of my life. I am the single cell. That is the foundation of me. That is myself, which grew into what I am today, and that is a very life force which was giving power to my mind, body, mind and intellect to function. That single self, the atomic force, the greatest living principle, the very nature, all living beings started with the single cell. The living principle is the same for you, the birds, the animals, with just different function, that's all, and the name and form. And I am no different from the nature. I am product of the nature. I live by the nature. The root in me is the living principle, and search for myself took me to my own root, that is self. I am surprised to say, when I was more interested in seeing the places where I was born, physically traveled miles and miles to do that. I have not taken any effort to see and locate the single cell in me, the living principle in me, the vital force in me, that is verily myself. The physical body, senses, mind and intellect are all parts of me. All the parts are functioning from the forces derived from myself, the single cell. Without that, all other things cannot function. The physical body, senses, mind and intellect are all parts of me, functioning from the force derived from myself, that is single cell. Without that founding cell, all other things just cannot function. So I know now who I am, what I am. I am verily the living force, part of the universal force that created me, and the entire universe with all its beings also created me. The only principle, the cosmic principle which created moon, stars, the planets and animals and plants, also created me too. First as a single cell. So I know now that the single cell in me is nothing but the part of the powerful nature, omnipotent force, which has no beginning, no end. As we all can see it, we do not know when the universe started functioning, when it is going to disappear. However, the single cell in me is a direct creation of the universal power, the greatest power, and still remains as part of it. That's very important to know. Finally, I located the living spirit inside me, which was long forgotten by me in the activities of the world. I have every right to know myself. The urge is in everybody, the foundation of myself, the great energy principle which is pulsating through my body, which is a driving force for my mind, body and intellect, without which I just cannot exist. Food, water alone cannot keep me alive. There should be a self at the bottom which is making all my parts work. Even without my knowledge, it is keeping me alive. I do not know how is the food is converted into energy. I do not supervise its function in me after every meal. But it is taking place, we all know it, without any effort on our part. The single cell is still vibrating in force. I have to feel it, know it, and be grateful for it. So-called my life achievements and sensual enjoyments were all possible only because of the existence of the great single cell, which I now know is the same for all the living beings, the unifying living principle that is in me. I am convinced logically. No need to search for the living principle outside anywhere. It shall be in me. My single cell is inside me. The great power, the atomic force which has created the universe is inside me. Why search outside? It is true, the same principle exists everywhere. But why search outside when myself is closer than anything else outside? Let me conclude that the search should begin with myself. Even the word search is not correct according to me. Anything external, you search. Anything internal, you have to only feel it. Yes, just feel it. It is always there and it is still there. But I was too busy. I did not give time. I didn't feel the necessity to know myself. Now the time has come. After knowing the limitations of all the other things in me, the body, senses, mind and intellect, one day all this will vanish. But now is the time to know and feel and be with the highest form of energy, which is within me, which is outside me, and which will live forever, and which has no beginning and no end. My mind was busy trying to satisfy the needs of its physical pleasures, needs in the world. Still I am living, and the needs are still there. No need to give up anything, but I now ask the cooperation of my mind. You are tired, and me too. We have to recharge. My mind is nothing but thoughts. No thoughts, no mind. Mind is like a blank screen. Thoughts come and go, one at a time. Since the root of my mind, where it originates from, is myself, the mind has to go back to its own source to know myself. I think this is rightly said. So far, my mind is used to only traveling outside, going outward and external. Now to let the mind go to its own origin. How to let the mind go towards its own origin? The root, the living principle, from where the mind draws its energy from. Here is a practical way. Let the mind go out 23 hours a day. Tell the mind to at least 1 hour a day to devote for its recharge by being close to the very basic principle. That's you, that's a cell, that's a single cell. Sit quiet, back straight, spine erect, in a very calm place. Spine erect is very important. Keep your back straight. Close the eyes. But you cannot close the nose and ears. You are now commencing your inward journey towards the root of yourself in a very practical way. This is something to rejoice. As you were so far only getting closer to the things outside, the people outside, other than you. You are not getting closer to yourself, but that's your birthright. What great fun to think that without knowing yourself, you are functioning all these years. And no wonder the joy, peace and happiness eluded you all these years. Who can be? Who will consider it giving all the happiness to you other than yourself? Who is more interested in your welfare than yourself? Think. Since you looked upon other objects, other people to do this job for you, you never got it, anything in full measure. And that is why the vacuum in the heart, now you know. When you sit quietly, the senses are now given no role to play. It is taking rest. Still the mind thinks, as thoughts are nothing but the mind, and that it's a very nature to think. Even a thought come in your mind, asking you to get up, or a thought come in your mind to get up and see if the TV is put off, door is locked, gas is turned off, etc., etc. Oh, it is time up to bring the boy from the school. All these thoughts come in the mind. Body and mind cooperate with each other to see that you get up and go. Since that is what the body and mind, that's how the body and mind were functioning so far. That is the way they were used to functioning, in fact. Now choose a proper time in 24 hours whereby your mind is cooperative and not issuing any such orders to your body to obey. That is exclusively for yourself. Tell that to your mind nicely. Your mind will definitely cooperate. You tell the mind 23 hours you gave it to do what it wants, and this 1 hour you want for yourself. Unless the mind is quiet, you cannot feel the self. Now take the cooperation of the mind. Ordering it will not do. The mind will become adamant. The mind will still have the urge to go outward. Take the cooperation of the mind. Convince the mind. Like a child. Tell the mind it needs rest. An hour a day. It will obey definitely. It will cooperate with you. All thoughts, good, bad and ugly, come one by one. Just be an observer. Just observe. Now you are doing the most important thing for yourself. Insert a thought which is your favorite, which is very powerful, which is very, very energetic. Insert a voice, a sound. For example, the word Om. Don't have to say only Om, whatever you are used to. Any word that is very powerful, that is suitable for you, very energetic, very potent. But let it be sweet and short. Let it not be very elaborate, but small word, very powerful. I chose a word Om. Why? The repetition of the one word mentally helps you to eliminate all the other thoughts. As I told you, there can be only one thought in the mental screen at one time. So I insert this thought, the word Om sound, the Om, mentally repeat it slowly. Since there is only place for only one thought at a time, it is very good that you automatically, or it just happens that all other thoughts will be kept out at a distance. Still the other thoughts might come to disrupt the single thought. By practice, you will be able to achieve the single thought process constantly staying in your mind, removing all the other thoughts. The question of practice, over a period you will definitely achieve it. Only one single thought and the sound of Om will be broken only by few other thoughts after some time. Earlier more crowded thoughts, and later on few thoughts will come and disturb you. The logic and the scientific principle is that the lesser the thoughts crowding in your mind, the more peaceful you will feel. You can feel it yourself by practice and see it for yourself. Even you are helping in this process, the pulse rate will be lower to be more comfortable, not beating faster than necessary. The BP will be reduced. When you are angry, thoughts rushing into the mind so rapidly, and hence the BP shoots up. And here you are doing the reverse. You are quietening the mind by allowing only one single thought. No rush of thoughts here. You'll find more peace, experience more peace by the single process alone. Here you are. by practically achieving the single thought. What is advantage? Since the great living force, the energy, was so far dissipated into too many thoughts, wanted or unwanted, and forcing the body to exert for the execution of these thoughts. Now, with this absence, with these activities absent, for an hour you will experience the mind coming on with a single thought sound, Om, with full energy, because that single thought is not shared by other thoughts to dissipate the energy. This particular sound, Om, repetition of Om, the mental repetition of it, you will feel the whole energy is surging forth from inside you and concentrating on the single thought, and it becomes a very powerful thought, and that is a life principle within you. Follow the sound of Om. Now, follow the sound of Om, where it originates and ends. This is the second part. The starting point of the sound is very vital because it is starting from yourself, the very substratum of your being. It starts from the single cell, the life energy. And it means it's all within you. After some time, alternate with one more easy process within yourself, within the reach of yourself. As I told you, you observe the origin of the sound and where it disappears, where it starts from and where the Om sound ends. This is how the entire mind is taken back to its root. The mind will dissolve in its root. And what is present now and what you experience now is the full potent energy. And you are verily the very energy itself, without the energy dissipating itself into various thoughts and actions. You will be vibrating fully, and this is called the recharging of the mind. Even your physical being is benefited by it. Definitely experience it yourself. Now we go to the second process, whereby the breathing process will be taken into account. You will be taking the cooperation of the breathing process to realize yourself, to feel yourself to be yourself. To do this, sit in a quiet place, focus the mind on the throat, close the lips. From the throat region, inhale the air upwards from the bottom of the navel and fill up the lungs with the air. Do as comfortably as possible, no exertion, no strain, slow. And down from the throat, release the air slowly into and up to the navel region. Very slow. This is internal breathing. Do it without any strain, that's very important. And just observe very closely the process of breathing, where the breath starts from and where it ends. The starting point and the ending point is the same. That is a point where you will stay as comfortably as possible and as long as possible. Slowly increase the duration of the staying power at that point, maybe a few seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, and feel the silent power. And navel upwards to the throat, and again from throat to the navel. It's a natural process, and be conscious of what you're doing. And the breathing process itself should not involve any strain of any kind. So, you will observe the breathing starting from the self, at the root of the self, The process where it starts and ends is your root. Stay there. Even for a few seconds. Over a period, the duration will increase. You are verily the breathing process itself now. Experience it. Experience the peace and joy just the mere process can give you. We will talk about the effects later. You will immediately experience the peace and the calmness and the quietness. And slowly, you are an observer who is observing the breathing process. Slowly, you will automatically be the very breathing process yourself. You will even forget to observe the process because the mind is totally engrossed in the breathing process. You are verily the energy now. There is no one to even observe it now. The energy will explode through you, will come out through you, and illuminating through you. And it is all positive energy. It will do only good for you. That kind of energy channelized through the mind later. What good effects it can have. What good performances your mind can do. Imagine. What goodness it can do to your health, to your lungs and heart, to your vital organs of the body. You are verily the energy yourself now. You are experiencing it now. And that gives you the immediate joy. And later on the good effects for the whole system. With this energy, if you walk, people around you will feel it. You are passing on the good energy to all those who are around you. This influence is a good influence of the good energy, positive energy will definitely fill up all the people who are around you. It will tell upon our achievements a clarity of thoughts, the force that is extraordinary. You are able to tap now, you are able to experience now, you are able to bring it out now in day-to-day functions of 23 hours, but provided you devote 1 hour for the two processes and experience the difference. And here, where you know yourself, you are functioning from yourself, you are functioning now from the root of yourself. Experience it. Why you will be able to see the difference? Because all these days the mind was always crowded with a lot of thoughts, and now there's a lot of difference because a single thought, naturally there has to be some difference, less tension, more relaxation. This process if we do 1 hour a day, after days, months and years of routine practice, mind will cooperate readily as it needs the peace. Especially after the onslaughts of the worldly life all these years and the sorrowful experiences of life, and realizing the vanity of the physical pleasures.